And what is going on, Devils fans? It is, as always, your host, your best friend, your confidant, your number one source, Neil Villapiano, and welcome to another edition of the Devil's State of Mind podcast, right here on the Hockey Podcast Network, as well as SportsWire Radio, the best place to get everything you need to know about your have they got their swagger back, New Jersey Devils. And as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check this episode and all the episodes that I put out. I greatly appreciate it all the time. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And if you've been watching the Devils recently, you got to feel pretty good about where the team is slowly starting to get to. And we're going to dive right into that. We have a lot to get to here. Shout out as always to our sponsors down below. We got DraftKings and we also got Game Time. Use our promo code THPN for both to get really exciting offers, which I will dive into a little later in the episode. But again, guys, what we're going to do today, we're going to quickly recap the last two games of the Devils Western Canada road trip. We're also going to quickly recap the Devils win just last night on Thursday, November 7th, as they defeated the Montreal Canadiens. We're then also going to focus on the Utica Comets a little bit because the Devils did send someone down to Utica just yesterday, and to be honest, it was kind of a long time coming, and we also had a bit of a big change, actually, that happened involving the leadership down in Utica as well. And finally, we are going to check out the local PWHL New York Sirens team as they, along with all the other teams in the league, debuted their jerseys for the upcoming season. And we're going to look at the Sirens one in particular. So as always, guys, we have a bunch to get to here on the Devil's State of Mind podcast, so let's not waste any more time and get rolling. And we will get rolling and drop the puck with diving right into the first of the three games we're recapping. Talking about the Devils' loss last Friday, a 3-0 defeat in Calgary to the hands of the Calgary Flames, as the Devils, for the first time this year, were held without a goal. And it was obviously tough coming off of that 6-0 dominant win over the Vancouver Canucks to start this road trip. You come in, Jacob Markstrom obviously making his early return to Calgary after being dealt to New Jersey in the offseason. Kevin Ball gets his first shot against the Devils, and some other former Devils, Yegor Sharangovich, Blake Coleman as well. And this was probably one of the most boring games I've watched in a while. Neither team really kind of dictated the pace. I don't know if the Devils from their perspective, if it was just they were struggling to find their legs. Who knows what the situation was, but it was no score for the longest time until a weird bounce deflection by Blake Coleman, the former Devil, off of his stick, off of his skate, and through the legs of Markstrom with about 5.5 minutes to go, gave the Flames the lead, and then just about 30 seconds later, Huberdeau scored on a 2-on-1, and Coleman added his second of the night in an empty netter, and the Devils fall in this one 3-0. And simply put, I thought that this was actually one of the best defensive games I've seen from the Devils all year. And I think overall the defense has gotten a lot better over the last couple of games. And I'm really impressed with what I've seen, but the offense simply wasn't there. And so, it's something where, was this a game that you should have probably won? It's tough to say considering how the team came out, but I think you kind of were hoping that the Devils would find a way to win this one. The other thing that was obviously unfortunate was Nate Bastian left this game with a broken jaw after getting into a little bit of a fight with Ryan Lomberg. I think, honestly, the refs should have stopped it a lot sooner, but they let Lomberg throw some haymakers with his left fist at Bastian's jaw, and Nate Bastian's going to be out the next several weeks with a broken jaw, and now the Devils sit with 2/3 of their fourth line out for a long period of time, as Curtis Lazar earlier this week underwent a successful left knee procedure after he injured himself in the win the previous Sunday against the Anaheim Ducks at home. So I think that we're going to expect some moves by Tom Fitzgerald over the next couple of days, whether that's involving the Utica Comets team or if Tom Fitzgerald goes out and gets a veteran fourth liner either from trade or free agency or waivers. We'll have to wait and see. And I think Sheldon Keefe even mentioned that it wouldn't be a surprise if a move is made over the next couple of days. So let's see how that. So obviously not what you wanted from this game. I did have a feeling that this was not going to be a good game by the Devils, and obviously I was right. So yeah, the Devils dropped that one 3-0. Frustrating, but now you shift over to the game last Monday, or not last Monday, but this past Monday when the Devils were in Edmonton to take on the Connor McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers, and the Devils found a way to flip the score in their favor in this one as the Devils win in Edmonton and complete a successful Western Canada road trip. They win this one 3-0. Jake Allen with his second save in his first 5 games this season, and that is the third shutout of the year by the Devils goaltending overall. They had just one last year, and they already have 3. Jake Allen is tied for the league lead in shutouts with 2 already on the year. He had that shutout a couple weeks ago against Utah, and then he gets a shutout in Edmonton against the Oilers. Devils added a goal in all 3 periods. Stefan Nason continuing to be probably the most productive of the moves in the offseason that Tom Fitzgerald made after a great feed from Paul Cotter. He gets one past the goaltender and in. That gives him his 6th of the year. Jesper Bratt scored on the power play in the slot, getting his 3rd, with Nico Hischier, Dougie Hamilton adding assists. And then Timo Meier with a nasty goal going from his forehand to his backhand, beating the goaltender to make it 3-0. But Dawson Mercer just moments before that with a beautiful flip pass to a streaking Timo Meier that set up that goal. And the Devils, despite being outshot in this one, and in some cases being outplayed, they got the win nonetheless, winning this one 3-0. So there were 3 consecutive shutouts that the Devils experienced on this Western Canada road trip, shutting out Vancouver, getting shut out by Calgary, and then shutting out Edmonton. I don't think I've ever seen the Devils go that many games in a row with that happening. So definitely a strange Western Canada road trip, but a successful one nonetheless, as the Devils take 4 out of a possible 6, outscoring their opponents 9-3. So you liked what you've seen. And again, going back to what I said, talking about the Calgary game, really, really good defensive performances from the Devils in a row. I've really been happy with where the Devils defense has gotten to over the last couple of games. So now the Devils shift and they're back home as they begin the first of 3 games in 4 nights, as the Devils got back home to take on the Montreal Canadiens. And in a back and forth game, for the most part, the Devils found a way to get the 5-3 win at home to get themselves now winners of 4 of their last 5. They've also now won each of their last 2 games at home. And this is something that has been talked about, where the Devils have had a ton of success so far this year when they played away from the Rock, but once they start playing at home, they seem to really struggle. And they struggled at times in this game. Markstrom gave up a couple of soft goals. The defense was a little bit lax at times, which is ironic considering I was just praising them a few moments ago. But nonetheless, the Devils were able to win this one 5-3. Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt were the main catalysts in this one, as Jesper Bratt added himself a goal and 2 assists. And the same can be said for Jack Hughes as well. Bratt had 2 goals and an assist. Jack Hughes had a goal and 2 assists. I mean, those guys were clicking. That line of Jack Hughes, Andre Palat, and Jesper Bratt has been the dominant line for this Devils team over the last couple of games. Bratt gets up to now 5 goals on the year, while Jack Hughes is now up to 5 as well. And the power play wasn't great in this one, but what was great was the penalty kill, as the Devils ended up killing off both penalties that they ended up taking in this one, and they've now killed off each of their last 15 in the span of the last couple of games. So really impressive job by the Devils penalty kill as a whole. But going back really quickly to this line of Palat, Jack Hughes, and Jesper Bratt, over the last 5 games, I just saw this morning actually from NHL Network. Here are the stats from all 3 guys in the last 5 games together. Andre Palat, who in the last episode, and I even posted a clip about it, you give Andre Palat some time, he's going to find his game. He has certainly found it of late. He has 2 goals, an assist, and 3 points in just under 14 minutes of time on ice, and a +1 rating. Jack Hughes, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, just over 19 minutes of play with a plus-minus rating of +3. And Jesper Bratt, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, just over 16 minutes of time on ice, and a plus-minus rating of +2. Simply put, this has been one of the most productive lines over the last 5 games in the NHL. They have really, really found their groove right now, and it is great to see, especially again from Andre Palat, who obviously earlier this year, a lot of you guys were just riding him hard, and I kept saying that you got to give him some time to get going, find that chemistry with the line, and he has found it. He has certainly found it with playing alongside Hughes and Bratt. And that is great to see. So the Devils now winners of 4 of their last 5. They have really started to find their groove. And now they come up with a big weekend coming up here starting tomorrow on the island against the struggling New York Islanders. And then they welcome a handful of familiar faces, meaning Mackenzie Blackwood, Tyler Toffoli, Fabian Zelin, Vitek Vanacek, and the San Jose Sharks on Sunday night. I will be in attendance for that one at the Rock, so I hope to see a lot of you there. And then the Devils have, a couple of big games in Florida against the defending Stanley Cup champions, 2 games in a row against the Florida Panthers. I think they also play Tampa Bay as well. So if the Devils can find a way to win these next 2 games and go into that little road trip winning, a couple of, that would be 4 in a row at that point, I think would be really, really helpful for their confidence going into those big matchups. A really good point also for the Devils to kind of see where they match up with, obviously, the defending Stanley Cup champions coming to town. So overall, you look at the Western Canada trip, really, really liked what I saw. Really, really was happy overall with, how they ended up, playing and the results they ended up getting. Again, wasn't a pretty win against Montreal, but got the win nonetheless. Winners of now 4 of their last 5. And we'll see what they can do on this little back-to-back here on the weekend. Now, before I dive into talking more about the Utica Comets, I'm going to take a little bit of time to give a shout out and read through some sponsor reads from our 3 sponsors. And we're going to start with DraftKings. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 2024-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-time users to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. All you got to do is go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And that's really kind of the thing that I love doing because I'm a very simple guy when it comes to betting. I like to just bet on who wins. But you can also do things like bet on how many goals overall. You could bet the over or the under. If the over is +6 and you think that this game combined for both teams going to end up with 6 goals, do that. If you feel the opposite way, you could do that as well. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up because new customers who bet just $5 get $200 instantly in bonus bets. It is a great offer. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. And that, again, is code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. And for additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see DraftKings.com/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. And also shout out to our friends over at Game Time. And guys, there is nothing more exciting than being at the arena watching your New Jersey Devils play. I should know that. I've been to so many games over the years, and it is absolutely thrilling. And if you want to experience that as well, I have an awesome deal for you, as you guys got to check out Game Time. It is the best place to get last minute tickets for all these games, and there are always offers going around. There's a lot of things there, and they have tickets for not just sporting events, but for concerts as well. They also have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. And also, Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They really make it so very simple. They also have my favorite thing, which is the lightning offer, which is simply they come up with an offer for a location in the arena that price-wise is great, and for your viewing of whatever you're going to is also phenomenal, and it's for only a couple of minutes once you open the app. So I highly recommend you guys use that and check that out as well, because it is a great deal. And you also get to see the view of your seat before you buy, and it's the lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, and also job loss protection as well. This is absolutely great. And all you have to do to get in on this action is download the Game Time app right now, create an account, and use code THPN to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code THPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time, baby. And also, shout out once again to our friends over at Raycon. And guys, you already know, we are getting very close to Black Friday. It is right around the corner for the best deals possible. And I'm always looking for great deals. And you could certainly get that with Raycon, because Raycon, you can get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean that they're not having any sales for Black Friday / Cyber Monday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering viewers up to 30% site-wise. And what I really love is just for the earbuds that are just super easy to fit perfectly into your ears without, and even if you move around and everything, they don't come out. They're very easy to use. They are phenomenal. I mean, there's so many obvious things, and there's also some great features. They have a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. I mean, that's absolutely crazy that they could do that. They also have everyday active noise cancellation, and you know that they are the perfect thing when you're trying to study or just trying to separate yourself from the world for a minute. Is absolutely phenomenal, especially for things like long flights. And Raycon started just half the price as the other guys, so they're already an incredible deal, even before you factor in their Black Friday / Cyber Monday offer up to 30% off site-wise. That is incredible what they're able to do with this. And it's time for the big savings, guys, especially at this time of the year. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get 30% off site-wise. You'll get up to 30% off everything, guys. I'm not making this up. On Raycon's website, again, when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. That was a lot of ad reads, was it not, guys? I do apologize for that, but obviously I got to show the love to these people, DraftKings, Game Time, and Raycon, who help continue to sponsor this podcast and continue to help me do all the amazing things that I'm able to do and provide for you guys as well. So now let's shift over to the back end of this episode, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Utica Comets, and we'll start with the news that we got just a couple of hours before the Devils took on the Montreal Canadiens on Thursday night, as the Devils made the move that honestly was the right move and expected, as they sent down Simon Nemec to the Utica Comets, as he played just 9 games this season with the Devils, having just 1 assist, hasn't played the last handful of games, being a healthy scratch. And this was something that was kind of a long time coming. I think that it's fair to say that Nemec has had a pretty tough go-around here in his second full season in the NHL, and it's not right for him to be sitting on the bench, or not even sitting on the bench, sitting in the press box not playing. And Sheldon Keefe said the only reason they didn't do it earlier was because they were on the road in Western Canada and they wanted Nemec to learn a little bit more with the team and build some more chemistry with the team before they sent him down. And they sent him down to Utica earlier yesterday, and it's the right move. He'll get an opportunity to play top power play minutes. He'll play a lot of top minutes in general, being one of the more talented guys on this Utica Comets team. And considering how the season is gone for the still winless Utica Comets, this will be a very positive thing for the team's success moving forward. So, yeah, obviously it's disappointing to see that Nemec has struggled as much as he's had defensively and not really producing at the level that we want him to see. But, guys, this is nothing to worry about. He's going to be back at some point this year. I can feel it, and I think he's going to be a lot better once he gets back up. And I think playing in Utica, he'll be a lot better for it. But he won't be playing under Kevin Dineen, because also what happened on Wednesday was we had a semi-surprising move as the Utica Comets fired head coach, or now former head coach, Kevin Dineen, and named Ryan Perrant the interim head coach for this Comets team for the rest of the year. So this happens after the Utica Comets have gotten off to an abysmal 0-8-0-1 record to start the year. They have gotten one measly point in a shootout loss. They have yet to win a game at all this year. Still the only winless team left in the AHL. And so it's tough, because I grew to be a big fan of Kevin Dineen with all the success he had with the development of a lot of the young players that we have on the roster right now and the success they had. We had that long winning streak a couple of years ago. We were the best team in the AHL, and just hasn't generated a lot of postseason success, which, again, you take it with a grain of salt, but you want to win nonetheless. But yeah, regardless of the situation, this was a move that I think was kind of coming. Again, you've gotten through nearly the first 10 games of the year, and you still haven't found a way to get a W. The goaltending, unfortunately, with Nico Dawes has just not been there. Isaac Poulter hasn't played well either. I mean, this is, from a development standpoint, it is not really what you were hoping to see, in terms of the long-term solutions between the pipes. But again, there's still only not even a quarter of the season underway. There's still a lot of hockey left to play, and things can turn around instantly. Sometimes making this move ends up being the right thing, just getting a different voice in there. And yeah, it's unfortunate that Kevin Dineen, who's a well-respected coach, ends up losing his job. I said on social media that I don't expect him to be without a job for a long period of time. You don't see this type of move happen in the AHL during the season very often, so I'm sure it was a surprise to a lot of people. But again, considering where the Comets are right now, it's a move that I think was kind of coming at some point. So yeah, Kevin Dineen has been fired as the head coach of the Utica Comets, and Ryan Perrant takes over as the interim head coach, and we'll see what that move ends up doing, positively or negatively, for the Comets, and we'll see what Simon Nemec can do down in Utica, alongside also Seamus Casey, who has played phenomenally so far in his short time with the Comets as well. So that's another guy to keep your eye on here. It's maybe a guy that somehow gets another call up later on in the year, but with where the Devils' defense, other than at times last night, has been over the last couple of games, it's really hard to see the Devils make any sort of moves. I also wouldn't be surprised if you see them bring up somebody. They'll probably bring up one, maybe two guys. I think they'll want to have 7 defensemen, and certainly they're going to want to try to bring in somebody to, help out with the bottom 6. Although, and I saw this stat and it was really funny, the Devils are 4-0-1 this year when Curtis McDermott is in the lineup. I'm just saying, I think that's kind of funny. They've been pretty good when McDermott's in. Maybe it's that intimidation factor. Who knows? But again, I also wouldn't be surprised if you see Tommy Fitz maybe make a move for somebody who's currently in the NHL right now. So this is I don't know if it's going to happen this weekend. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I think it's going to happen before the Devils fly down to Florida for those next couple of games next week. So those are 2 pretty big moves that happen for the Utica Comets, and we'll see what kind of effect that has on the team and the people involved as well. And last but certainly not least, guys, I talked about it, not as much as I wanted to last year, but I'm going to be much more active with it this year. The second season of the PWHL is very close to getting underway. Actually, training camp starts in literally 4 days. So next, what would that be? Next Tuesday will be the first day of training camp for all the teams in the PWHL, including our local New York Sirens, who their official home this year will be the Prudential Center. So plenty of opportunities, Devils fans, to go check out the top professional women's hockey league in the world right now. But also yesterday, they showcased their jerseys, not just the Sirens, but every team in the PWHL. And here you go, as these are all the jerseys for season 2. Because last year they were all just PWHL New York or PWHL Montreal, etc., etc. This year they got logos, team names, and now they have jerseys. And for the most part, they did a phenomenal job with these jerseys. I really love the Montreal Victoire. That's really good. The Boston Fleet. You have the Minnesota Freeze. You have Ottawa. You have Toronto. All these teams. And again, going back to the New York Sirens, here are their uniforms for the year. You saw the home one on the previous slide, but now you get to see the road uniform as well. These are absolutely beautiful. You could already go on the PWHL website and get your hands on one, whether you want a custom one or just a regular one as well, for under, I think it's like either $200 or like $150, depending on what it is. They are sponsored by Bauer. So this is kind of an interesting thing that we get to see kind of a brand, not a brand new brand, but a brand kind of sponsored jerseys. I'm really kind of interested to see what Bauer can do. 100% polyester. I'm giving you guys information that you probably don't care about, but nonetheless, these are really, really cool. I love what I've seen from these jerseys. So shout out to the PWHL, shout out to Bauer, and shout out the New York Sirens. I mean, this logo is very cool. It stands out really big. The jerseys look great. I like the color work overall, and I think I'm definitely going to get my hands on one of these jerseys. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section about these jerseys. And do not worry, because I will be having a special guest very soon joining this podcast, and we are going to rank all 6 of the jerseys of the PWHL and talk about them at length with my number 1 jersey guy. And you'll find out very soon who that number 1 jersey guy is. I'm really, really excited to bring him on when I get the opportunity to. But nonetheless, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. As always, thank you guys for taking time out of your day again to check this episode out. Everything I do here at the Devil's State of Mind podcast, I really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube. We are so close to our first 100 subscribers here. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook at Devil's State of Mind, Instagram at Devil's State of Mind, and give us a follow over on Twitter at Devil's State as well. And also follow the Hockey Podcast Network on all platforms at HockeyPodNet. So we'll see what the Devils can do in a big weekend to really, really continue to get some wins here and keep the swagger going. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you in the next episode. Have a great weekend, everybody. And as always, let's go Devils.